The 50 most famous artworks by Claude Monet. Number 50. Water Lilies, Night Effect. Circa 1897 to 1899. Water Lilies, Night Effect is part of Monet's extensive series of water lily paintings created during the last years of his life. Painted between 1897 and 1899, this work captures the tranquility and mystery of his water garden in Giverny during twilight. Monet was deeply fascinated by the changing effects of light and atmosphere, and in this painting, he explores how the night light transforms the landscape. The work presents a calm water surface dotted with water lilies, subtly reflecting the night sky and surrounding vegetation. The dark tones and soft brushstrokes create a feeling of serenity and contemplation. Monet uses a limited yet richly nuanced palette, adding depth and emotion to the scene. The absence of a defined horizon and the close-up composition make the viewer feel immersed in the silent atmosphere of the pond. This painting is significant because it shows Monet's evolution toward a more abstract style, focused on sensations and perceptions rather than detailed representation. Water Lilies, Night Effect reflects his interest in capturing fleeting moments and the essence of nature, influencing the development of modern art and anticipating movements like abstract expressionism. Monet's Water Lily series is considered the culmination of his career and a milestone in art history. These works invite the viewer to contemplate the beauty and transience of nature, becoming a lasting legacy of his artistic genius and his deep connection to the surrounding environment. Number 49. The Port of Amsterdam, 1874. In The Port of Amsterdam, painted in 1874, Claude Monet captures the vitality and movement of one of the most important ports in 19th century Europe. This work is a testament to his interest in urban themes and human activity, momentarily departing from his rural landscapes and natural scenes. The painting shows a panoramic view of the bustling port, with sail and steamboats docked and moving. Monet uses loose brushstrokes and vibrant colors to convey the dynamic and changing atmosphere of the place. The interaction between water, sky, and port structures reflects his ability to capture the effects of light and weather in urban settings. This work is significant within the Impressionist movement for its focus on modern life and industry, themes that were innovative at the time. Monet not only depicts the physical landscape but also the essence of the industrial age, with its constant progress and transformation. The choice of Amsterdam as a subject also highlights Monet's interest in different cities and his desire to explore various environments. The Port of Amsterdam is appreciated for its balanced composition and Monet's ability to combine architectural details with a general sense of movement and fluidity. The painting reflects Monet's mastery in capturing fleeting moments and the energy of contemporary life, contributing to the evolution of art toward new forms of expression and perception. Number 48. The Garden in Bordighera, 1884. Painted during his trip to the Italian Riviera, The Garden in Bordighera is a vibrant depiction of the Mediterranean landscape that captivated Claude Monet in 1884. This work shows a lush garden filled with palm trees, exotic plants, and dazzling light, which notably differs from the gentler scenery of his native France. Monet was fascinated by the intensity of colors and the luminosity of southern Europe. In this painting, he uses a bright palette and strong contrasts to convey the warmth and vitality of the environment. The brushstrokes are energetic and loose, reflecting the movement of the leaves and the lively atmosphere of the garden. The composition is rich in botanical details, demonstrating his interest in nature in all its forms. The Garden in Bordighera is significant because it represents Monet's adaptation to new conditions of light and landscape. His experience in Italy enriched his understanding of color and form, influencing his later works. The painting also reflects the adventurous spirit of Impressionism, with artists exploring new places and subjects to capture the essence of the world around them. This work is celebrated for its exuberance and the skill with which Monet translates an intense sensory experience onto the canvas. The garden in Bordighera remains an inspiration for its celebration of nature and its innovative approach to landscape representation. Number 47. Water Lilies, Green Reflections. Circa 1914 to 1917. Water Lilies, Green Reflections is part of the final series of water lily paintings that Monet created during World War I, painted between 1914 and 1917. This work reflects a shift toward greater abstraction and a deep exploration of light and color. Despite the turbulence of the time, Monet immersed himself in his garden, finding solace and inspiration in the changing reflections of his pond. The painting is characterized by broad brushstrokes and a palette dominated by greens and blues, capturing the reflections of vegetation in the water. The lack of a focal point or defined structure allows the viewer's eye to travel across the surface of the canvas, immersing them in a world of color and light. Monet focuses on the interaction between water, plants, and light, creating an almost meditative experience. This work is important because it shows Monet's transition toward a style that foreshadows abstract expressionism. His focus on sensory perception and atmosphere rather than literal representation broke new ground in modern art. Water Lilies, Green Reflections is an expression of his dedication to capturing the intangible and his tireless exploration of nature's effects. The painting is valued for its ethereal beauty and its influence on later generations of artists. It represents the culmination of Monet's quest to transcend the limitations of form and capture the essence of visual experience. Number 46. The Port of Le Havre, 1874. In The Port of Le Havre, painted in 1874, Claude Monet returns to his hometown to capture the lively port life that surrounded him in his youth. This work is contemporary to Impression, Sunrise, and shares with it the interest in the changing effects of light and atmosphere on the water and boats. The painting shows a vibrant scene of the port, with sail and steamships, cranes, and industrial buildings under a cloud-filled sky. Monet uses quick brushstrokes and a palette rich in blues and grays to convey the movement and energy of the place. The reflections in the water and the blurring of contours emphasize the humid and misty atmosphere typical of the Norman coast. The Port of Le Havre is significant because it reflects Monet's commitment to outdoor painting and his desire to capture fleeting moments of modern life. The work contributes to the development of Impressionism by focusing on everyday and urban themes and representing the interplay between natural light and human activities. The painting is appreciated for its authenticity and its ability to transport the viewer to the heart of the port scene. The Port of Le Havre is an outstanding example of how Monet transformed ordinary scenes into profound explorations of perception and visual experience. Number 45. The Rouen Cathedral, Morning. Rouen Cathedral Series, 1894. The Rouen Cathedral, Morning, is part of a series of over 30 paintings Monet dedicated to the facade of Rouen Cathedral between 1892 and 1894. In this work, Monet focuses on how the morning light transforms the appearance of the Gothic building, exploring the subtleties of light and color at different times of day. The painting shows the cathedral bathed in soft morning light, with pink and golden tones illuminating the stone. Monet employs small, vibrant brushstrokes to capture the architectural details and luminous effects. The series as a whole is an exhaustive study of perception and demonstrates Monet's interest in how changing light conditions affect the visual experience. This work is significant because it represents a culmination of Monet's explorations of light and atmosphere. By painting the same subject at different moments, Monet challenges the conventions of fixed representation and emphasizes the dynamic nature of perception. The Rouen Cathedral series is considered one of the masterpieces of Impressionism and a milestone on the path to abstraction in art. The Rouen Cathedral, Morning, is valued for its beauty and technical innovation. The painting invites the viewer to contemplate the constant transformation of the world around us and how our perception is influenced by temporal and environmental factors. Number 44. View of Rouen, 1872. In View of Rouen, painted in 1872, Claude Monet presents a panoramic view of the city from an elevated perspective. The work captures the tranquility and charm of Rouen, with its sloping roofs, smoking chimneys, and the imposing silhouette of the cathedral on the horizon. Monet uses a soft color palette and a misty atmosphere to convey the feeling of a cool morning in the city. The brushstrokes are delicate and precise, reflecting his attention to detail and his skill in capturing the essence of the place. The composition balances the architectural elements with the natural environment, creating a visual harmony characteristic of his work. This painting is important because it shows Monet's interest in urban landscapes and his ability to find beauty in everyday scenes. View of Rouen reflects his impressionist approach to representing atmosphere and light rather than exact details. The work also foreshadows his later studies of the Rouen Cathedral, where he would deepen his exploration of light effects. View of Rouen is appreciated for its serenity and the mastery with which Monet balances reality with his artistic interpretation. The painting remains a prominent example of how Impressionism transformed the way artists represented the world around them. Number 43. The Seine in the Snow, circa 1878. The Seine in the Snow is one of the works in which Claude Monet explores the winter landscape and the effects of snow on the environment. Painted around 1878, the work shows the banks of the Seine River covered in snow, with bare trees and a cold light enveloping the scene. Monet uses a palette dominated by whites, grays, and blues to capture the stillness and clarity of winter. The brushstrokes are soft and diffuse, reflecting the quiet atmosphere and the absorption of sound by the snow. The reflection of the sky in the icy water adds depth and dimension to the composition. This painting is significant because it demonstrates Monet's ability to represent extreme weather conditions and their effects on the landscape. His interest in snowy landscapes allowed him to explore new challenges in representing light and color. The Seine in the Snow contributes to the Impressionist tradition of painting outdoors and capturing specific moments in time. The work is valued for its evocative atmosphere and the delicacy with which Monet conveys the sensory experience of winter. The painting invites the viewer to contemplate the subtle and often overlooked beauty of winter landscapes. Number 42. The Train in the Countryside, 1873. In The Train in the Countryside, painted in 1873, Claude Monet merges elements of the Industrial Revolution with the rural landscape. The work shows a steam train crossing the French countryside, with columns of smoke rising and blending with the cloudy sky. Monet uses loose brushstrokes and a natural color palette to represent the countryside, while the train and smoke add dark, dynamic contrasts to the scene. The inclusion of the train, a symbol of progress and modernity, in the natural setting reflects the transformation of French society in the 19th century. This painting is important because it shows how Monet and other Impressionists incorporated elements of modern life into their works. The train in the countryside represents the coexistence and tension between nature and technology, a relevant theme in the era of industrialization. The work also highlights Monet's interest in the transitory effects of light and movement. The painting is appreciated for its balanced composition and the way it captures a specific moment in time. The train in the countryside is an example of how Impressionism addressed contemporary themes and reflected the social and technological changes of the time. Number 41. Bathers at La Grenouillère, 1869. Bathers at La Grenouillère is one of Monet's early works, painted in 1869 in collaboration with Pierre-Auguste Renoir. La Grenouillère was a popular riverside resort on the Seine, frequented by the Parisian middle class. The painting shows bathers enjoying summer leisure, with boats, platforms, and trees framing the scene. Monet uses loose, vibrant brushstrokes to capture the movement of the water and the activity of the people. The sunlight reflects on the water and figures, creating a lively and animated environment. The work is an early example of the Impressionist style, focusing on the visual impression rather than minute details. This painting is significant because it marks a turning point in Monet's career and in the development of Impressionism. Together with Renoir, Monet explored new techniques and subjects, focusing on modern life and everyday experiences. Bathers at La Grenouillère reflects their shared interest in capturing natural light and atmospheric effects. The work is valued for its energy and spontaneity, offering a glimpse into French society on the eve of significant changes. Bathers at La Grenouillère remains a key piece in understanding the rise of Impressionism and the evolution of modern painting. Number 40. The Cliffs of Belle-Île, 1886. In The Cliffs of Belle-Île, painted in 1886, Claude Monet captures the power and majesty of the coastal landscape on the island of Belle-Île in Brittany. The work depicts steep cliffs battered by the Atlantic waves, with a turbulent sky adding drama to the scene. Monet uses vigorous brushstrokes and an intense color palette to represent the ruggedness of the rocks and the movement of the sea. The contrasts between deep shadows and bright highlights emphasize the geological structure and shifting atmosphere. The painting reflects his fascination with the effects of light and weather on the landscape. This work is important because it demonstrates Monet's ability to tackle wilder and less domesticated subjects than his usual gardens and urban scenes. The Cliffs of Belle-Île shows his versatility and interest in capturing the essence of different natural environments. The painting is appreciated for its visual and emotional power, conveying the grandeur and unpredictability of nature. The Cliffs of Belle-Île is a testament to Monet's skill in combining detailed observation with an artistic expression that continues to resonate with viewers. Number 39. Field of Tulips in Holland, 1886. In Field of Tulips in Holland, painted in 1886, Claude Monet captures the beauty and vibrancy of the expansive Dutch tulip fields. During his visit to the Netherlands, Monet was captivated by the vivid colors and geometry of the floral fields stretching to the horizon. The painting features horizontal bands of intense colors: reds, yellows, pinks, and purples of blooming tulips. In the background stands a typical Dutch windmill, anchoring the scene in its geographical context. Monet uses broad, loose brushstrokes to convey the abundance and texture of the flowers, while the clear, bright sky enhances the brilliance of the colors. This work is significant because it shows Monet's interest in the effects of color and light over large surfaces. Field of Tulips in Holland reflects his experimentation with perspective and composition, using the lines of the fields to guide the viewer's gaze across the landscape. The painting also highlights the influence of Dutch landscapes on his work, enriching his palette and techniques. The work is appreciated for its liveliness and the joy it conveys. Field of Tulips in Holland is a testament to Monet's ability to find inspiration in different cultures and landscapes, expanding the reach of Impressionism and its impact on art. Number 38. The Bridge at Argenteuil, 1874. Painted in 1874, The Bridge at Argenteuil is one of Claude Monet's most iconic works depicting suburban life along the Seine River. Argenteuil, a town near Paris, was a popular spot frequented by Monet and other Impressionists, attracted by its picturesque surroundings and the opportunity to explore new subjects. The painting shows the railway bridge at Argenteuil crossing the Seine, with sailboats calmly navigating underneath. Monet captures the reflections of the boats and the bridge in the water, using short, vibrant brushstrokes to represent movement and sparkling light. The blue sky and fluffy clouds add a sense of serenity and open space. This work is significant for its focus on modernity and the interaction between nature and human infrastructure. The Bridge at Argenteuil reflects how Monet integrates elements of contemporary life into his landscapes, showing the impact of the Industrial Revolution on the natural environment. The painting also exemplifies the Impressionist style in its representation of light and atmosphere. The work is valued for its compositional balance and harmony between natural and man-made elements. The Bridge at Argenteuil remains an iconic representation of Monet's vision and his contribution to modern art. Number 37. The Poplars series, circa 1891 to 1892. Between 1891 and 1892, Claude Monet painted a series of works titled The Poplars, centered on a group of trees along the Étretat River near his home in Giverny. The series consists of 23 paintings that capture the poplars at different times of the day, seasons, and weather conditions. In these works, Monet explores the variation of light and color, depicting the poplars reflected in the water and framed by the changing sky. He uses rhythmic brushstrokes and a diverse palette that ranges from warm, golden tones to cool, bluish hues. The repetition of the motif allows Monet to delve into perception and how small changes can transform a scene. The series is significant because it exemplifies Monet's dedication to studying a single subject from multiple perspectives, advancing his exploration of light and atmosphere. The Poplars reflects his interest in time and cyclical nature and his ability to capture the essence of a place through meticulous observation. These works are celebrated for their beauty and the innovation they brought to the concept of series in art. The Poplars influenced later artists and remains an outstanding example of Monet's mastery in representing nature. Number 36. Apples and Grapes, 1879. In Apples and Grapes, painted in 1879, Claude Monet ventures into the genre of still life, exploring form, color, and light in a simple yet effective composition. The painting presents an arrangement of fruit on a table, illuminated by soft light that enhances its natural colors. Monet uses delicate brushstrokes and a warm palette to depict the textures and nuances of the apples and grapes. The background is neutral, allowing the fruits to be the main focus of the work. The simplicity of the composition emphasizes his interest in the effects of light and shadow on everyday objects. This work is significant because it shows Monet's versatility and his ability to apply Impressionist principles to different genres. Apples and Grapes reflects his attention to detail and his capacity to find beauty in the ordinary. Although he is better known for his landscapes, this still life demonstrates his talent in representing still lifes. The painting is valued for its elegance and the subtlety with which Monet captures the essence of the objects. Apples and Grapes is a charming example of how Impressionism can bring new life to traditional subjects. Number 35. Women in the Garden, circa 1866 to 1867. Painted between 1866 and 1867, Women in the Garden is one of Claude Monet's most ambitious early works. The painting shows 3 women strolling and one seated in a lush garden, all dressed in the elegant fashions of the time. Monet used his future wife, Camille Danseau, as the model for all the female figures. The work is notable for its large size and for having been painted outdoors, which was unusual at that time. Monet strove to capture the natural light and how it affected the colors and shadows in the garden and on the women's white dresses. He uses loose brushstrokes to represent the vegetation and more precise details in the figures. Women in the Garden is significant because it demonstrates Monet's early commitment to outdoor painting and his interest in the effects of sunlight. The work was rejected by the Paris Salon in 1867, but it is now seen as a precursor to Impressionism and a showcase of his artistic innovation. The painting is appreciated for its fresh and luminous representation of modern life. Women in the Garden captures a moment of leisure and elegance, reflecting both Monet's personal interests and the social trends of the time. Number 34. Water Lilies, Clouds, circa 1920 to 1926. Water Lilies, Clouds is part of the large-scale mural decorations that Claude Monet painted in the last years of his life, between 1920 and 1926. These monumental works were designed to be exhibited on the oval walls of the Musée de l'Orangerie in Paris, creating an immersive environment for the viewer. The painting represents the surface of the water lily pond in Giverny, reflecting the sky and clouds above the water. Monet uses broad brushstrokes and a soft palette to blur the line between water and sky, creating a sense of infinity and transcendence. The absence of a defined horizon and the scale of the work immerse the viewer in an almost abstract experience. This work is significant because it represents the culmination of Monet's exploration of light, color, and perception. Water Lilies, Clouds anticipates abstract art and demonstrates his innovation until the end of his career. The paintings in this series were his last major contribution to art and a gift to the French people. The work is valued for its emotional and aesthetic impact. Water Lilies, Clouds offers a contemplative and meditative experience, inviting the viewer to reflect on nature and perception. Number 33. Adolphe Monet in the Garden at Le Coteau in Sainte-Adresse, 1867. In Adolphe Monet in the Garden at Le Coteau in Sainte-Adresse, painted in 1867, Claude Monet portrays his father, Adolphe Monet, in the garden of the family home in Sainte-Adresse, a seaside resort on the coast of Normandy. The work combines elements of portrait and landscape, showing the elderly man seated in a chair surrounded by flowers and vegetation. Monet uses a bright palette and detailed brushstrokes to capture both his father's thoughtful expression and the richness of the garden in full bloom. The sunlight creates shadows and highlights the vivid colors of the plants, reflecting Monet's interest in the effects of natural light. This painting is significant because it offers a personal insight into Monet's family life and his relationship with his father. Although Adolphe Monet initially opposed his son's artistic career, this work shows a moment of tranquility and mutual respect. The painting also reflects Monet's skill in harmoniously integrating human figures into his landscapes. The work is appreciated for its intimacy and the mastery with which it combines portrait and landscape. Adolphe Monet in the garden at Le Coteau in Sainte-Adresse is a valuable piece that adds depth to the understanding of Monet's life and art. Number 32. The Studio Boat, 1874. Painted in 1874, the Studio Boat shows Claude Monet working on his boat adapted as a floating studio on the Étretat River near Giverny. This painting was created by his friend and fellow Impressionist Edouard Manet, though Monet also painted his own version titled The Studio Boat, depicting this innovative approach to work. In his version, Monet portrays the studio boat from the riverbank, with himself and possibly his wife aboard, surrounded by vegetation and reflections in the water. He uses loose brushstrokes and a fresh palette to capture the tranquil atmosphere and the interplay of water and light. This work is significant because it illustrates Monet's method of painting directly from nature, using the boat to access different perspectives and locations along the river. The Studio Boat reflects his commitment to outdoor painting and his constant search for new artistic challenges. The painting is valued for its originality and for offering a glimpse into Monet's creative process. The Studio Boat is a symbol of his dedication and innovation in Impressionist painting techniques. Number 31. The Artist's House at Argenteuil, 1873. In The Artist's House at Argenteuil, painted in 1873, Claude Monet represents his own home and garden in the village of Argenteuil, where he lived with his family for several years. The work shows an idyllic scene with abundant flowers and the facade of the house bathed in sunlight. Monet uses bright colors and loose brushstrokes to capture the garden's lushness and the warm atmosphere of the place. The composition balances architectural elements with nature, reflecting his love for both. His young son, Jean, can be seen playing in the garden, adding a personal and familial touch to the scene. This painting is significant because it represents a happy and productive period in Monet's life. The Artist's House at Argenteuil reflects his connection with his surroundings and how they influenced his art. The work is also an example of his ability to find beauty in the ordinary and transform it into art. The painting is appreciated for its charm and the joy it conveys. The Artist's House at Argenteuil offers a glimpse into Monet's private life and how it inspired his work. Number 30. The Roses, circa 1925-1926. Painted between 1925 and 1926, The Roses is one of Claude Monet's last works, created when he was over 80 years old. The painting represents the rose arbor in his Giverny garden, a constant source of inspiration during his later years. Despite his advanced age and vision problems caused by cataracts, Monet continued exploring light and color passionately. The work shows an arch covered with roses in full bloom, with broad brushstrokes and a vibrant palette conveying the exuberance of the flowers and foliage. The composition is freer and closer to abstraction, reflecting his evolution toward a more emotional and less detailed representation. The Roses is significant because it represents Monet's persistence and dedication to art until the end of his life. The painting shows how he continued to innovate and adapt his technique despite physical challenges. His work during this period influenced later movements like abstract expressionism. The work is valued for its beauty and emotive quality. The Roses is a tribute to Monet's endless passion for nature and his commitment to capturing its essence on canvas, leaving a lasting legacy in art history. Number 29. Monet's Garden at Giverny, 1900. In Monet's Garden at Giverny, painted in 1900, Claude Monet presents an intimate and detailed view of his own garden, which became his main source of inspiration during the last decades of his life. The work shows a path surrounded by lush flowers, trees, and shrubs, creating a mosaic of colors and textures. Monet uses soft brushstrokes and a rich palette to capture the diversity and vitality of the plants in various stages of bloom. Light plays a crucial role, filtering through the foliage and creating shadows and reflections that add depth to the scene. The composition directs the viewer's gaze along the path, inviting them to enter the garden. This painting is significant because it reflects Monet's deep connection to nature and his dedication to creating and depicting his garden as a living work of art. Monet's Garden at Giverny exemplifies how he transformed his everyday surroundings into a space for continuous artistic exploration, influencing the development of Impressionism and modern art. The work is appreciated for its beauty and the serenity it conveys. Monet's Garden at Giverny allows viewers to experience Monet's passion for horticulture and his skill in capturing nature's essence on canvas. Number 28. Water Lilies with Willow Reflections, circa 1916 to 1919. Painted between 1916 and 1919, Water Lilies with Willow Reflections is part of Claude Monet's extensive water lily series created in his Giverny garden. In this work, Monet combines the image of floating water lilies with the reflections of weeping willows bordering the pond, creating a dynamic and almost abstract composition. Monet employs fluid brushstrokes and a palette that spans greens, blues, and touches of pink and violet to capture variations in light and color. The lack of a defined horizon and the overlap of reflected and real elements challenge traditional conventions of perspective and pictorial space. This work is significant because it represents Monet's shift toward greater abstraction and his focus on direct visual experience. Water Lilies with Willow Reflections reflects his interest in how light and color can transform the perception of reality, anticipating later artistic movements like abstract expressionism. The painting is valued for its emotional depth and technical innovation. It invites viewers to immerse themselves in a contemplative world and appreciate the subtleties of nature as Monet saw them. Number 27. The Beach at Sainte-Adresse, 1867. In The Beach at Sainte-Adresse, painted in 1867, Claude Monet captures a coastal scene at the seaside resort of Sainte-Adresse near Le Havre in Normandy. The painting shows people enjoying a day at the beach, with the sea and sailing boats in the background and elegant houses and pavilions framing the shore. Monet uses bright colors and clear light to represent the summery atmosphere and the fashion of the time. The brushstrokes are precise for the figures and looser for the sea and sky, reflecting his interest in atmospheric effects and modern life. The composition balances human and natural elements, creating a lively and harmonious scene. This work is significant because it demonstrates Monet's early focus on capturing moments of contemporary life and its social environment. The Beach at Sainte-Adresse reflects his ability to blend landscape and genre painting, showing influences from artists like Eugene Boudin and anticipating the development of Impressionism. The painting is appreciated for its elegance and the way it conveys the atmosphere of leisure and sophistication of the Norman coast in the 19th century. Number 26. Venice at Night, 1908. Painted in 1908, Venice at Night is part of a series of works that Claude Monet created during his visit to Venice. The painting captures the magical nighttime atmosphere of the city, with its canals, palaces, and reflected lights in the water. Monet uses a dark and rich palette, with deep tones of blue and violet, contrasted with warm lights representing lamps and illuminated windows. The brushstrokes are loose and fluid, creating a sense of movement and reflection. The work approaches abstraction, focusing more on the interplay of light and water than on architectural details. This painting is significant because it shows Monet's adaptation to new surroundings and his ability to capture the essence of unique places like Venice. Venice at Night reflects his ongoing interest in the effects of light at different times of day and under varying atmospheric conditions. The work is valued for its evocative atmosphere and Monet's mastery in conveying the beauty and mystery of Venice at night. Number 25. The Seine at Vétheuil, 1880. In The Seine at Vétheuil, painted in 1880, Claude Monet represents a view of the Seine River from the village of Vétheuil, where he lived for several years. The painting shows the calm river, reflecting the sky and wooded banks, with small boats adding interest to the composition. Monet uses a soft, luminous palette with blues, greens, and touches of pink to capture the serenity of the landscape. The brushstrokes are fluid and precise, reflecting his attention to detail and his skill in representing the effects of light on the water. This work is significant because it reflects a transitional period in Monet's life, marked by personal difficulties but also by an evolution in his artistic style. The Seine at Vétheuil shows his focus on nature and his ability to find solace and inspiration in his immediate surroundings. The painting is appreciated for its tranquility and the beauty with which Monet captures a fleeting moment in nature, offering the viewer a sense of peace and reflection. Number 24. Regattas at Argenteuil, 1872. Painted in 1872, Regattas at Argenteuil depicts a lively scene of sailing on the Seine River near Monet's home in Argenteuil. The work captures sailboats participating in regattas, with spectators watching from the shore and a bright sky framing the scene. Monet uses vibrant colors and loose brushstrokes to represent the movement of the boats and the sunlit water. The composition is dynamic, conveying the energy and excitement of the sporting event. This painting is significant because it reflects Monet's interest in modern life and the leisure activities of his time. Regattas at Argenteuil is an example of how Impressionists incorporated contemporary themes and captured the atmosphere of specific moments. The work is valued for its liveliness and Monet's skill in conveying a sense of movement and the interplay of light and water. Number 23. The Artist's Sun in the Garden at Argenteuil, 1875. In The Artist's Sun in the Garden at Argenteuil, painted in 1875, Claude Monet portrays his son, Jean Monet, playing in the garden of their home in Argenteuil. The painting shows the child surrounded by flowers and greenery, capturing a tender and familial moment. Monet uses a bright palette and loose brushstrokes to represent the garden's lushness and the innocence of childhood. Natural light bathes the scene, creating soft shadows and enhancing the vibrant colors of the plants. This work is significant because it provides a personal glimpse into Monet's life and his relationship with his family. The Artist's Sun in the Garden at Argenteuil reflects his skill in combining portraiture and landscape, and his interest in capturing everyday moments with spontaneity and emotion. The painting is appreciated for its charm and the way it conveys love and joy in family life, adding a human depth to Monet's body of work. Number 22. The Church at Vétheuil, 1880. Painted in 1880, the church at Vétheuil depicts the parish church in the village of Vétheuil, where Monet resided during a difficult period in his life. The work shows the church facade illuminated by sunlight, viewed from a slightly low perspective that enhances its presence. Monet uses loose brushstrokes and a warm palette to capture the effects of light on the stone and the Gothic architecture. The contrast between illuminated areas and shadows adds depth and drama to the scene. This painting is significant because it reflects Monet's interest in buildings and how they interact with light and the environment. The church at Vétheuil foreshadows his later series of Rouen Cathedral, where he would explore this theme further. The work is valued for its sensitive interpretation of a local monument and the way Monet transforms an everyday structure into an artistic exploration of light and form. Number 21. The House Among the Roses, 1925. In The House Among the Roses, painted in 1925, Claude Monet depicts his home in Giverny surrounded by a lush rose garden. The work shows the facade of the house barely visible amid abundant flowers and foliage, creating a sense of complete integration with nature. Monet uses broad brushstrokes and a vibrant palette to capture the richness of colors and textures in the roses in full bloom. The composition lacks precise architectural details, focusing instead on the atmosphere and general impression of the garden. This painting is significant because it represents the culmination of Monet's relationship with his garden, which had become his primary inspiration and living work of art. The House Among the Roses reflects his evolution toward a freer and more abstract style in his later years. The work is appreciated for its beauty and the emotion it conveys, offering a view of the world as Monet perceived it in the twilight of his life. Number 20. The Red Boats at Argenteuil, 1875. Painted in 1875, The Red Boats at Argenteuil depicts a scene along the Seine with several sailboats featuring red hulls docked near the shore. The painting captures a calm day, with the water reflecting the boats and the partially cloudy sky. Monet uses bright and contrasting colors, especially the red of the boats against the blue and green tones of the water and surrounding environment. His brushstrokes are loose yet precise, detailing the boats and the effects of light on the river's surface. This work is significant as it exemplifies the Impressionist approach in capturing specific moments and the transitory effects of light and color. The Red Boats at Argenteuil reflects Monet's interest in modern life and nautical scenes, common in Argenteuil during that period. The painting is appreciated for its vibrant color and the way it conveys the serenity and beauty of life along the river. It is an outstanding example of how Monet and the Impressionists transformed ordinary scenes into profound explorations of visual perception. Number 19. The Cliff at Étretat, 1885. In The Cliff at Étretat, painted in 1885, Claude Monet captures the majestic limestone formation known as the Needle on the coast of Normandy, France. The work depicts the cliffs rising abruptly from the sea, with the natural arch and isolated needle standing out against the sky and water. Monet uses a palette of soft, natural colors, with blues, grays, and ochres, to reflect the atmospheric conditions and changing light. His brushstrokes are quick and expressive, capturing the movement of the waves and the texture of the rock. The composition balances the massive cliff with the open space of the sea and sky, creating a sense of grandeur and harmony. This painting is significant because it demonstrates Monet's interest in seascapes and his skill in representing the transitory effects of light and weather. The Cliff at Étretat is part of a series of works he created at this location, exploring different perspectives and environmental conditions. The work is appreciated for its ability to convey the beauty and strength of nature. Monet captures the essence of the place, inviting the viewer to contemplate the interplay between land, sea, and sky. Number 18. The Gare d'Argenteuil, 1872. Painted in 1872, the Gare d'Argenteuil shows the train station of Argenteuil, a town on the outskirts of Paris where Monet lived for several years. The work depicts a steam locomotive arriving or departing from the station, with human figures and railway structures in the surroundings. Monet uses luminous colors and loose brushstrokes to capture the vibrant atmosphere of modern life. The locomotive's smoke blends with the sky, and sunlight creates contrasts and reflections on the metal surfaces and buildings. The composition incorporates diagonal lines that add dynamism to the scene. This painting is significant because it reflects Monet and the Impressionists' interest in themes of industrialization and modernity. The Gare d'Argenteuil illustrates how the Industrial Revolution transformed the landscape and everyday life, and how art could represent these changes. The work is valued for its innovative portrayal of a contemporary subject and Monet's ability to combine Impressionist technique with urban and industrial scenes. Number 17. Under the Palms, 1884. In Under the Palms, painted in 1884, Claude Monet captures a tropical scene during his visit to the French Riviera. The painting shows tall, lush palm trees under a bright blue sky, with sunlight illuminating the leaves and creating contrasting shadows. Monet uses a vibrant palette and loose brushstrokes to capture the intensity of Mediterranean light and the area's warm atmosphere. The composition focuses on the shapes and textures of the palm trees, representing the exotic vegetation that contrasted with the Norman landscapes Monet was accustomed to. This work is significant because it demonstrates Monet's exploration of new environments and his adaptation to different light and color conditions. Under the Palms reflects his ability to find inspiration in diverse landscapes and his interest in nature's variety. The painting is appreciated for its vitality and the way it conveys the sensation of being immersed in a tropical setting, offering the viewer a fresh and different experience within Monet's repertoire. Number 16. The Windmill at Giverny, 1886. Painted in 1886, The Windmill at Giverny depicts a windmill near Monet's residence in Giverny. The work shows the windmill amidst fields and vegetation under a clear or slightly cloudy sky. Monet uses soft, natural colors, with loose brushstrokes capturing the texture of the plants and the structure of the windmill. Sunlight illuminates the scene, creating shadows and highlighting the architectural and natural elements. This painting is significant because it reflects Monet's interest in rural and traditional elements of the French landscape. The Windmill at Giverny shows his connection to the local environment and his ability to find beauty in countryside scenes. The work is valued for its simplicity and the tranquility it conveys. It exemplifies how Monet could transform an everyday scene into a work of art that invites contemplation and appreciation of nature. Number 15. The Garden at Sainte-Adresse, 1867. In The Garden at Sainte-Adresse, painted in 1867, Claude Monet depicts an elegant scene of leisure in a seaside garden at Sainte-Adresse, a resort in Normandy. The painting shows several figures enjoying the setting, with flags waving and boats sailing on the horizon. Monet uses bright, contrasting colors with a carefully balanced composition. The flowers in the foreground, the figures, and the sea are arranged to guide the viewer's gaze through the scene. Sunlight highlights the colors and creates a cheerful, sophisticated atmosphere. This work is significant because it reflects Monet's interest in modern life and the social interactions of the time. The garden at Sainte-Adresse combines elements of landscape, portraiture, and genre painting, showing influences from Japanese art in its flat composition and use of space. The painting is appreciated for its aesthetic beauty and the way it captures a specific moment in time, offering insight into 19th century society and customs. Number 14. Waterloo Bridge, London series, circa 1899 to 1904. Painted between 1899 and 1904, the Waterloo Bridge series is part of the works that Claude Monet created during his visits to London. These paintings show the bridge at different times of day and under various weather conditions, focusing on the effects of fog and light over the River Thames. Monet uses a palette of diffuse colors, with shades of gray, blue, and violet, to capture London's misty atmosphere. The shapes of the bridge and buildings become almost abstract, blurred by fog and industrial smoke. The brushstrokes are soft and merge elements, creating a sense of constant movement and change. This series is significant because it represents the culmination of Monet's exploration of light and atmosphere in visual perception. Waterloo Bridge reflects his interest in how environmental conditions transform the appearance of objects, and his technique influenced modern art development. The paintings are valued for their depth and innovation in urban atmosphere representation. They invite the viewer to appreciate light and color subtleties in an industrial setting. Number 13. The Beach at Trouville, 1870. In The Beach at Trouville, painted in 1870, Claude Monet captures a summer scene on the beach at Trouville, a popular seaside resort in Normandy. The work shows people strolling along the shore, with parasols and elegant clothing, while the wind blows and waves lap against the beach. Monet uses light colors and loose brushstrokes to depict the bright light and movement of the sea and breeze. The details of the figures and accessories hint at the fashion and customs of the time, adding a social context to the scene. This painting is significant because it combines the seascape with a representation of modern life, reflecting Monet's interest in both subjects. The Beach at Trouville demonstrates his ability to capture fleeting moments and the unique atmosphere of the coast. The work is appreciated for its freshness and the way it conveys the joy and energy of a summer day at the beach, offering a window into 19th century society. Number 12. The Beach at Pourville, 1882. Painted in 1882, The Beach at Pourville is one of the works Claude Monet created during his stay in the small coastal town of Pourville in Normandy. The painting shows cliffs and beach under varying light and tide conditions. Monet uses a palette of blues, greens, and ochres to depict the sea, land, and sky. The brushstrokes are energetic, capturing the movement of waves and the texture of rocks and sand. The composition may include small figures or boats, adding scale and life to the scene. This work is significant because it reflects Monet's commitment to plein air painting and his interest in capturing the constant changes in nature. The Beach at Pourville exemplifies his skill in conveying atmosphere and the specific conditions of a place and time. The painting is valued for its beauty and the way it transports viewers into the scene, allowing them to experience the sea breeze and shifting light. Number 11. The Magpie, circa 1868 to 1869. In The Magpie, painted between 1868 and 1869, Claude Monet portrays a snowy landscape with a simple wooden fence and a magpie perched on it. The scene is quiet, showing the effects of sunlight on freshly fallen snow. Monet uses a limited palette of whites, grays, and touches of yellow and blue to capture the shadows and color nuances in the snow. His brushstrokes are soft and precise, representing the texture and stillness of the winter landscape. This painting is significant as it is one of the first examples of Monet's interest in the effects of natural light and his approach to colored shadows, an innovative concept at the time. The Magpie demonstrates his skill in finding beauty and complexity in seemingly simple scenes. The work is appreciated for its serenity and the mastery with which Monet captures light and atmosphere. It is considered one of his best winter paintings and a precursor to the Impressionist style. Number 10. Charing Cross Bridge, circa 1899 to 1904. Painted between 1899 and 1904, Charing Cross Bridge is another series of works Claude Monet created during his stays in London. Like the Waterloo Bridge series, Monet explores how fog, light, and smoke transform the appearance of the bridge and its surroundings. Monet uses soft tones and blurred brushstrokes to depict the bridge and nearby buildings emerging from the fog over the River Thames. Sunlight filtering through the mist creates constantly changing luminous effects that Monet captures with great sensitivity. This series is significant as it deepens Monet's exploration of urban atmosphere and optical effects. Charing Cross Bridge reflects his interest in perception and how environmental conditions alter visual experience. The paintings are valued for their ethereal atmosphere and innovative technique. Monet creates images that are both representative and almost abstract, influencing later artists and enriching the legacy of Impressionism. Number 9. The Houses of Parliament, London series, circa 1899 to 1901. Between 1899 and 1901, Claude Monet painted a series titled The Houses of Parliament, capturing the Palace of Westminster as seen from the River Thames under different light and weather conditions. These paintings focus on the effects of fog, sun, and atmosphere on the Gothic architecture. Monet uses a palette ranging from somber grays and blues to warm oranges and purples, depending on the time of day and climate. The shapes of the Parliament buildings become almost silhouettes, blurred by fog and smog, while light plays a crucial role in creating reflections and shadows in the water. This series is significant because it continues Monet's exploration of how light and atmosphere transform the perception of a single subject. The Houses of Parliament reflects his interest in capturing the intangible and ephemeral, challenging traditional conventions of architectural representation. The paintings are valued for their evocative atmosphere and innovation in Impressionist technique. Monet conveys the essence of London with its changing climate and urban landscape, offering viewers a unique sensory experience. Number 8. Woman with a Parasol, Madame Monet and Her Son, 1875. In Woman with a Parasol, Madame Monet and Her Son, painted in 1875, Claude Monet depicts his wife Camille and their son Jean during an outdoor stroll. The work shows Camille standing on a hill with a parasol, looking at the viewer, while Jean is lower down in the field. Monet uses bright colors and intense light to capture the sunny and windy atmosphere of the day. His brushstrokes are loose and expressive, especially in the grass and clouds, which appear to move with the breeze. The diagonal composition and low viewpoint create a sense of movement and spontaneity. This painting is significant as it exemplifies Monet's Impressionist style at its peak, focusing on natural light and everyday moments. Woman with a Parasol reflects his skill in combining portraiture and landscape, capturing the essence of both person and environment in a single image. The work is appreciated for its elegance and the warmth it conveys of family life. It remains one of Monet's most iconic images and represents his contribution to the development of Impressionism. Number 7. The Gare Saint-Lazare, 1877. Painted in 1877, the Gare Saint-Lazare is part of a series in which Claude Monet depicts the Saint-Lazare train station in Paris. The work shows steam locomotives, platforms, and the glass and iron structure of the station, all enveloped in clouds of steam and smoke. Monet uses a palette of grays, blues, and touches of red and yellow to capture the industrial and dynamic atmosphere of the station. His brushstrokes are energetic, and the steam is represented with blurred areas that add depth and movement. Light filters through the glass roof, creating complex luminous effects. This painting is significant because it reflects Monet's interest in modernity and urban life. The Gare Saint-Lazare shows how Impressionists embraced contemporary themes, exploring new spaces and subjects. The work is also notable for its innovation in the portrayal of light and movement. The painting is valued for its vivid representation of the Industrial Revolution and its impact on society. Monet transforms an everyday scene into a profound artistic exploration, capturing the energy and rhythm of modern life. Number 6. Poppy Field near Argenteuil, 1873. In Poppy Field near Argenteuil, painted in 1873, Claude Monet represents a rural landscape filled with bright red poppies. The work shows two women and two children walking through the field, likely his wife Camille and their son Jean. Monet uses a palette of vivid colors, with intense greens and striking reds, to capture the natural beauty of the landscape. His brushstrokes are loose and fluid, depicting the undulating grass and flowers. The blue sky and white clouds add balance and depth to the composition. This work is significant because it exemplifies the Impressionist focus on natural light and pure colors. Poppy Field near Argenteuil reflects the joy and tranquility of rural life and Monet's connection to his surroundings. The painting is appreciated for its beauty and the peace it conveys. It is one of Monet's most famous works and showcases his ability to capture fleeting moments and the essence of nature. Number 5. Haystacks. Series of haystacks. Circa 1890 to 1891. Between 1890 and 1891, Claude Monet painted a series known as Haystacks, depicting stacks of hay in the fields near his home in Giverny. Each painting shows the haystacks at different times of day and seasons, exploring how light and weather affect their appearance. Monet uses a wide range of colors and techniques, from warm, golden tones to cool blues and purples. His brushstrokes vary to represent the texture of the hay and atmospheric effects. The composition often centers on the haystack, turning it into an almost abstract object. This series is significant because it deepens Monet's exploration of perception and temporal change. Haystacks demonstrates his commitment to direct observation and his interest in how external factors transform a single subject. The series had a considerable impact on the development of modern art. The paintings are valued for their innovation and the way they challenge traditional conventions. Monet turns a simple object into a complex study of light, color, and form. Number 4. The Water Lily Pond and the Japanese Bridge, 1899. In The Water Lily Pond and the Japanese Bridge, painted in 1899, Claude Monet presents a view of his famous garden in Giverny. The work shows the arched Japanese-style bridge over the pond filled with water lilies, surrounded by lush vegetation. Monet uses rich colors and fluid brushstrokes to capture the serenity and beauty of the garden. Reflections on the water and the interplay of light with leaves and flowers create a tranquil and contemplative atmosphere. The composition balances horizontal and vertical elements, guiding the viewer's gaze across the painting. This painting is significant as it marks the beginning of one of Monet's most iconic series, centered on his water garden. The water lily pond and the Japanese bridge reflects his fascination with nature and his passion for gardening, turning his surroundings into an endless source of artistic inspiration. The work is appreciated for its harmony and the way it conveys the essence of nature. It is a prime example of Monet's artistic maturity and his contribution to Impressionism. Number 3. The Rouen Cathedral Series, circa 1892 to 1894. Between 1892 and 1894, Claude Monet painted more than 30 works of the Rouen Cathedral, focusing on the west facade of the building under various lighting and weather conditions. Each painting captures how sunlight transforms the appearance of the Gothic stone architecture. Monet uses a range of palettes, from cool and soft tones to warm and vibrant ones, to represent atmospheric changes. His brushstrokes are dense and textured, reconstructing the cathedral's surface in terms of light and color rather than precise architectural detail. This series is significant as it represents the culmination of Monet's fascination with light and how it affects perception. Rouen Cathedral is a profound study of perception and a challenge to traditional representation conventions. The series influenced later movements, including symbolism and abstract art. The paintings are valued for their innovation and emotional intensity. Monet transforms a well-known monument into a personal, almost spiritual exploration of light and time. Number 2. Water Lilies. Water Lilies Series, circa 1897 to 1926. From approximately 1897 until his death in 1926, Claude Monet devoted much of his time to painting his Water Lilies series, inspired by the pond in his garden at Giverny. The series includes around 250 paintings that explore different perspectives, lights, and compositions of the pond and its flowers. Monet uses a vast range of colors and techniques, from delicate brushstrokes to thick applications of paint. Many of the works verge on abstraction, focusing on reflections and water surfaces rather than recognizable elements. The absence of a horizon and traditional perspective creates an immersive and meditative space. This series is significant as it represents the culmination of Monet's career and his major contribution to modern art. Water Lilies explores themes of perception, nature, and sensory experience, anticipating movements like abstract expressionism. The paintings are valued for their beauty and emotional depth. They invite viewers to immerse themselves in contemplation, experiencing nature directly and personally. Number 1. Impression, Sunrise, 1872. Painted in 1872, Impression, Sunrise, is perhaps Claude Monet's most famous work and the one that gave its name to the Impressionist movement. The painting depicts the port of Le Havre at dawn, with ships and cranes faintly visible through the morning mist, and a bright orange sun rising in the sky. Monet uses quick, loose brushstrokes and a limited palette to capture the fleeting impression of the scene. The colors are soft and blurred, except for the sun and its reflection on the water, which stand out vibrantly. The composition is simple yet effective, focusing on light and atmosphere. This work is significant because it challenged the artistic conventions of its time and became a manifesto for Impressionism. Impression, sunrise, emphasizes subjective perception and direct experience, prioritizing visual sensation over exact detail. The painting is cherished for its innovation and historical impact. It represents a turning point in modern art, symbolizing artistic freedom and the exploration of new ways to see the world. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Give it a like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your friends and family.